So you think you got what it takes? You think you got what it takes to be a US Army Aviator? Well, obviously you do, because you wouldn't have clicked on this video if you didn't. So, in this video, we're going to talk about getting selected. Coming to Fort Rucker, getting your wings, and going out and flying real missions. So let's talk about getting selected for flight school. So, a little bit of background about me. My name's Devin Rushing. I'm a medical evacuation officer in the US Army, obviously. Also known as a 67J dust-off pilot. Call us whatever you want. But the paths are similar to a 15 Alpha or a warrant as far as getting selected goes. And that's what this video is gonna cover. So the things that we're gonna talk about in this video are gonna be the SIF test, the flight physical, the letters of recommendation, the letter of intent or letter of an introduction to the board, your evaluations, and your ORB. So the first thing you got to do in the process before you do anything else is take that darn SIF test. A little bit of background about me. I took it in college, and I wasn't the most prepared college student in the world, to put it lightly. I didn't study the night before. I didn't study at all. I just walked into that SIF test and I totally bombed it. I commissioned Medical Service Corps, and 2 years later, I retook the SIF test, and as most people do, they mature with time. And I prepared myself this time, and I knocked it out of the park. Now, what I did to prepare is I ordered this book off of Amazon. I'll drop the link below. But it was a pretty good test, or it was a pretty good test prep study guide. And this book takes you step by step through the test, gives you tips. I mean, it's a really good book. The second time I took it, I started studying for it about 2 weeks out, about an hour, maybe 2 hours every night, depending on my schedule. And then about 3 days before the test, I really amped up my study until about 3 hours a night. So I did really well on my second attempt. You're allowed up to 2 attempts. If I would have failed it on that second try, I would have been out. I would have been out of the game. So fortunately, that didn't happen. So once you pass your SIF test, which minimum score has got to be 40 or higher, obviously you don't want to strive for 40. You want to pass, obviously, but you want to get much higher if you can help it. I think they say competitive scores are over 50, but just pass it, because once you pass it, once you get selected to come to Fort Rucker, no one's ever going to ask you what you scored on it ever again. They care about how you fly and what your knowledge is on your airframe. That's what they care about. So after that, we then move down towards the flight physical. So the flight physical is a very thorough medical physical, and it takes a lot of time. You got a lot of players in the game, and in order to do the flight physical, they have to know you're serious. So that's why you can't take it until you get the SIF test done. So you got your labs where they're going to draw blood. You got your urinalysis where they look at a couple of things in your urine. And then your normal hearing test where you go in the booth and click the button. You got your EKG where they look at your heart. And then your eye exam, which is extremely thorough, and it's going to pretty much put you out of the office the entire day, because they're going to dilate your eyes. They're going to pressurize your eyes. They're going to shine lights in them. There's gonna be a optometrist come in and take a very good, thorough look at your vision. and your eyes, and they're going to note everything to do with them. After you've done all of those things, you then have a sit down with a qualified flight surgeon. This doctor is a special doctor. Their specialty is evaluating pilots and aviators to determine if they're healthy enough to fly. And they have a strict guidelines and regulations they have to go off of. They're not just kind of putting it in their own opinion. They actually have a book that they go off of, and I'll actually drop that publication in the link below. So when you're going through the physical process, you can actually reference that, and that'll help you out. Now, if you do need any waivers, just know that it's okay. It's not uncommon. I had to get a waiver. I know a lot of people that had to get a waiver. It's not that big of a deal. Obviously, if you don't have to get a waiver, that's great. Makes the process a lot painless. But it's not a big deal if you have to get a waiver. So once your flight physical has been sent to Rucker and it's been approved, you can knock out the other things, which are getting letters of recommendation. Fortunately for me, whenever I was actually stationed at Fort Sill at the time, and I got a very well-respected 67 Juliet in the community to write my letter of recommendation. He happened to be stationed at Fort Sill, of all places, at that time I was there, so it was very lucky for me. And I still keep up with him. He's one of the greatest officers I've ever met in my life. And then obviously the letters of recommendation should be from a aviator. That makes them a lot stronger. However, if they're a higher rank that can speak to your character and your performance, that's great too. And then your next thing you're going to do is write your letter of intent, why you want to be an aviator. For me, I centered mine on my experiences as a battalion medical officer, and going to my NTC rotations and calling in 9-line medevacs and watching Black Hawks come in and pick up my casualties. I wrote a really great letter of recommendation based on that to make it sound like I was very passionate, which I am, but you want to really sell your passion for being an aviator in that letter. That's your opportunity to speak to the board in one letter, one page. And then next is going to be your evaluations. For me, I had 3 at the time, but any evaluation you have, you're going to put that in your packet as well. And then obviously your officer record brief, or your ERB, your enlisted record brief, or your SRB, whatever they're calling it nowadays. And then that's it, man. That is your flight school packet. That's it. And then after you submit those documents, you're just waiting to hear back from the board at that point. So my plan with this channel is I really want to cover everything to do with flight school. I plan on releasing a video about once you get to Fort Rucker. I'm going to cover Common Core in depth. I'm going to do a video on SEER School as much as I can, at least mainly focusing on SEER School preparation, and then advanced airframe, or my experience at least. And then that's it. I know whenever I was preparing to come to flight school, there wasn't a whole lot of videos and series out on YouTube, and I plan to put one out there that's a really good quality one that people can reference and prepare themselves to come here. So please stay tuned. Thank you for watching. Like, subscribe, and comment. Thank you.